Hello, everyone. So happy to be here. So, today I want to talk to you about how in life we never know what someone else is going through. So often we judge about a person's circumstances or believe that everything is going fine for them because they just haven't spoken up and said something different. But we haven't walked a mile in anyone else's shoes. We only know what is going on with ourselves. And I've been thinking about this a lot all weekend because there was news over the weekend that in one of the large hotels they found two bodies, and it was a mom and daughter. And my first thought was like, who would do this to somebody else? But it later came out that one did something to the other, and then it was self-inflicted. And I was reflecting on that a lot over the weekend, thinking like, how could someone do that? Why would they do that? Like, why did they believe that's the answer? And then I was reflecting on just like how often that happens and how so many people feel hopeless. And I can relate to feeling hopeless. Like, it's a lot going on, you know? There's people are losing jobs, people are struggling, people can't even afford groceries. And it's like just piling up for so many people. And when that light at the end of the tunnel just seems to keep getting dimmer and dimmer and harder to reach, it could be easy for someone to feel like life is hopeless and it's pointless. And even in society, if like all you're seeing is negative, and then you hop online and all you see is negative, and you turn on the news and all you see is negative, and your experience in life is all negative, it can start to feel very overwhelming. And like I said, we don't know what anyone else is going through. But I'm not making excuses for any of that because it's terrible no matter how you look at it. But I can say from my own experience, there's been several times in life that things have felt utterly hopeless, that it felt as if there is no chance for things to change. It felt like, what's the point? It felt like I was treading water and drowning. And in those moments, I remember it felt impossible to even just breathe. And I felt desperate for an answer, but my mindset was not ready to change. And at the end of the day, like, everything comes down to your mindset. What you focus on grows. So if you're focusing on all the negativity and all the horribleness and all the hardship happening, of course, that's what's going to grow. And if you're focusing on all the good and the beautiful things and being very present and gratitude, then of course that's what's going to grow. And so as I was reflecting upon all of this and just thinking through like what causes someone to get to this hopeless state, and I have to be honest, it starts with our mindset. And if I'm not belittling that in any way, because I get it. Like, being alive in this world is hard. So I understand. But at the end of the day, like, we have more control than we think we do. Like, we actually can change the trajectory of everything in our life. We have the power to move it from one state into another. And no matter how silly it sounds, like, your mindset plays a key role in this. And if you are not willing to consider that, then you're going to continue to feel stuck. And I know myself, I felt stuck for so long because I was I don't know. I wanted things to be hard, I guess. I'm just kidding. It's not that I wanted things to be hard, but I was being stubborn myself. And I thought, it can't possibly be that simple. Like if I start to think certain things, it can't possibly change anything. But the truth of the matter, it does. Your thoughts become things. What you think about, you bring about. If it's up here, even not spoken, if it's up here in your brain on repeat over and 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 over, you're going to keep calling that in. You have to really take those thoughts and challenge them and start to rewrite them if that's not the future you want. And as soon as you start to change your mindset, then everything else can fall into place, because all realities already exist right in this very moment. Like I'm going to sound like Back to the Future, but the space-time continuum, it's all happening and all available all around us all the time. But if we are calling in negativity and the bad things, if we're calling them in, then this is what we're going to keep experiencing. But if we can turn and switch our mindset into a mindset of gratitude, it starts to shift and starts to shift and starts to shift and becomes easier and easier and easier. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this today is because everything's connected. Our mindset is connected to our reality. Our perception is all up here. And if we don't start to work through and start to rewrite and start to challenge where our mind is actually going and not hone in and control it, because sometimes it could feel like your mind is just roaming wild, like, oh, this is just the way it is. It's how it is. And you just accept it for what it is. But you have the power and the control to be able to change your mindset. When thought encounters your brain and you're like, oh, this is not true, you have the power to tell your brain it's not true. Our brains, they love drama. They thrive on drama because this is how we're set up, right? So we're set up to respond like fight or flight. We're set up to respond. As soon as something happens, we're set up to react to it. And if we're reacting in a certain way without actually controlling those reactions, we're calling in more of that fight or flight drama into our lives. And our brain, it's just doing its job. Our brain is set to make us survive. Like it's going to do what it has to do to ensure that we're surviving. And so if it encounters that drama, it likes it because it's like, ooh, I now have work to do, and it is going to keep engaging with that. So we have to, when we encounter those moments, we have to really rewrite it for ourselves. We have to challenge that thinking. We have to say, is this really true? Is this really the reality? Maybe I am only responding this way because my perception is this. Because in all actuality, on top of how we perceive things, there's 3 sides to every story, right? There's your perception, there's their perception, and there's the truth somewhere in the middle. And if we're responding on our perception and the person we're responding to is not aligned on the same perception, it's like you guys are missing each other every time. You can't actually line up. And if you are in the mindset that you are so steeped in your perception of that moment and unwilling to look at the whole picture, then you actually will keep calling in that miscommunication with that relationship. So needless to say, everything is connected. Our mindset is connected to our reality. If we can start to work through and change our mindset, then you can start to change your reality. And for me, I feel like it's so multifaceted, but I will say one of the key factors in starting to change my mindset was really to let go of perfection, or perfectionism is a better way to put it, because when I was wanting everything to be perfect all the time, I wasn't even willing to try something different. I was very all or nothing. Like, it's going to be this way. If I can't do that, then not. All or nothing. And life is not all or nothing. Like, there's so many variables, so many things always taking place. And even if something is imperfect, it can still be great. And so the only way to push past that feeling, to actually get through to break through it, is to get into action. You cannot break the feeling of disappointing yourself because it's not going to be perfect. You can't break through that without the action. Like, you have to first take the action, and then you can break through it. So, needless to say, we first have to work on our mindset. And when we can hone in on our mindset, or even recognize that, hey, yes, in my mind, this is my reality, but that's it. It's just my reality. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the truth. And it doesn't necessarily mean that just because this happened this one time, that it's always going to be that way. It can have a different ending, a different outcome. And so all of this just came from thinking about how sometimes we're so lost in our mindset and so lost in our reality that we feel like our only option is just to escape. But at the end of the day, when you do that, you affect far more people than you realize. Like, you affect your loved ones, the people you encounter in school, the people you encounter at work, your children, everyone. Even people you might not realize. Like, let's say you work at a restaurant and you are a server. You may even affect your customers, So it's just, I want you all to know that everything is fixable, everything is figure outable, and that it doesn't have to be that answer. And that if you see someone else anytime in life, that we don't need to judge where they're at, because we don't know their full journey. We don't know what they're struggling with. We don't know how they got there. And we really should be more gracious, not only like to both ourselves and to others, because this journey is hard for everyone. And not only is it hard, it's also, since it's so individual to each of us, the lessons that you gain, they come from lived experience. And if you don't encounter these hardships, you don't have the lived experience, so you don't end up gaining the tools required to go through that transformation. And so everything has a purpose in our life. It's not for nothing. What you go through, even if it's hard, it's not for nothing. It's giving you the tools required to get through it. And those tools are something you can share with others to try and help them learn how to get through it as well. So I just wanted to get on here and just share kind of my reflections from some sad things that I've heard, but also to remember that your today is not your forever. I have a friend once told me that it's just a bad day, not a bad life. And when she said it, it seems like such a simple, silly phrase, but it's the truth. When we're going through a very hard time, it's just a bad day, not a bad life. And you've survived 100% of your bad days up till now. So what makes you think you're not going to survive another one? That's all I wanted to get on and share today. So I hope that you found this helpful. I would love to connect with you. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I'd love to just be here to share these reflections with you. And also, if you're still want to find ways to connect with me, you can find me at herglowandgrow.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Olivia Annan. And thank you. Talk to you soon.